The genuine story behind Thanksgiving is a grisly one, and a few groups say it's an ideal opportunity to drop the occasion. While festivities may appear to be unique this year considering the COVID pandemic, Thanksgiving is normally a period for family marches, loads of scrumptious food, and, as a rule, extraordinary travel growls. American schoolchildren are typically instructed that the practice traces all the way back to the Pilgrims, English strict dissidents, who assisted with setting up the Plymouth colony in present-day Massachusetts in 1620. Supposedly cordial neighborhood Native Americans plunged in to show the striving Pilgrims how to make Jew in the New World. At that point everybody got together to celebrate with a blowout in 1621. Participants included at any rate 90 men from the Wampanoag clan and the 50 or so enduring Mayflower travelers, as per time. The slam endured 3 days and highlighted a menu including deer, fowl, and corn, as per Smithsonian Magazine. Actually, Thanksgiving feasts originate before Plymouth. Various territories have attempted to guarantee the main Thanksgiving for themselves. Furthermore, the harmony handled at Plymouth didn't keep going long. The genuine story behind the occasion is so dim, truth be told, that a few group are reconsidering how they praise the occasion, or whether they ought to by any means. The Plymouth Thanksgiving of 1621 wasn't the first. Pioneers in Berkeley Hundred in Virginia chose to praise their appearance with a yearly Thanksgiving back in 1619. As indicated by National Geographic, however, the Washingtonian announced the feast was most likely minimal, more than certain clams and ham put together a very long time before that. Spanish pioneers and individuals from the Seloy clan ate with salted pork, garbanzo beans, and a mass in 1565 Florida. As indicated by the National Park Service, our cutting-edge meaning of Thanksgiving spins around eating turkey. However, in past hundreds of years it was a greater amount of an event for strict recognition. The celebrated 1621 Plymouth merriments live on in famous memory. However, the actual Pilgrims would have doubtlessly considered their calm multi-day of petition the primary genuine Thanksgiving, as indicated by the History of Massachusetts blog. Others pinpoint 1637 as the genuine root of Thanksgiving, attributable to the way that the Massachusetts province lead Representative John Winthrop proclaimed a day to commend provincial officers who had quite recently butchered many Pequot men, ladies, and youngsters in what is presently Mystic, Connecticut. In any case, the mainstream recounting the underlying harvest celebration is the thing that lived on because of Abraham Lincoln. The suffering occasion has additionally almost deleted from our aggregate memory what occurred between the Wampanoag and the English an age later. Pressures developed between the Wampanoag and the English Pilgrims years after the Plymouth Thanksgiving. Massasoit, the sachem, or principal boss, of the Wampanoag, end up being an essential partner to the English Pilgrims in the years after the foundation of Plymouth. He set up a restrictive exchange agreement with the Rookies and aligned with them against the French and other nearby clans like the Narragansett and the Massachusetts. Be that as it may, the partnership got stressed over the long haul. A great many English Pilgrims filled the area all through the 17th century. As per noteworthy contact, Indian people and colonists in today's northeastern United States. Experts in Plymouth started declaring power over most parts of Wampanoag life as pioneers progressively gobbled up more land. The Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History assessed sickness had effectively decreased the Native American populace in New England by as much as 90% from 1616 to 1619, and indigenous individuals kept on dying from what the settlers called Indian fever. When Massasoit's child, Metacomet, referred to the English as ruler Philip, acquired authority, relations had frayed. Lord Philip's war was started when a few of Metacomet's men were executed for the homicide of the Punkapoag translator and Christian believer John Sassaman. Wampanoag heroes reacted by setting out on a progression of attacks, and the New England Confederation of Colonies pronounced conflict in 1675. The at first nonpartisan colony of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations was at last hauled into the battling, as were other close by clans like the Narragansett. Harmony between the Wampanoag and the English pioneers didn't last. The conflict was bleeding and annihilating. Springfield, Massachusetts, was caught fire. The Wampanoag stole settlers for recover. English powers assaulted the Narragansett on a harsh, frozen marsh for holding escaping Wampanoag. 600 Narragansett individuals were murdered, and the clan's colder time of year stores were demolished. As indicated by Atlas Obscura, pioneers in remote moved to more braced zones while the Wampanoag and associated clans had to escape their towns. The homesteaders at last aligned with a few clans like the Mohegans and the Pecos, regardless of introductory hesitance from the Plymouth Initiative. In the interim, Metacomet was managed an amazing blow when he got over into New York to select partners. All things considered, he was repelled and assaulted by Mohawks. Upon his revisitation of his genealogical home at Mount Hope, he was shot and executed in a last fight, the child of the one who had supported and celebrated with the Plymouth colony was then decapitated and dismantled. As indicated by It Happened in Rhode Island, his leftover partners were murdered or sold into subjugation in the West Indies. The Pilgrims speared Lord Philip's head on a spike and showed it in Plymouth for a very long time. In an article distributed in the Historical Journal of Massachusetts, the Montclair State University teacher Robert E. Cray Jr. said the conflict's definitive loss of life might have been just about as high as 30% of the English populace and half of the Native Americans in New England. The conflict was only one of a progression of merciless, however faintly recalled early conflicts between Native Americans and pioneers in New England, New York, and Virginia. Mainstream memory has to a great extent clung to the harmless picture of a reap festivity while disregarding the dangerous powers that would at last divide from the relatives of the visitors of that very blowout. The occasion's dim past has a few group reconsidering Thanksgiving. Racial shamefulness in the US went to the cutting edge in 2020, with the COVID pandemic disproportionately influencing minorities and police mercilessness, drawing consideration across the US and the world. A few groups say it's an ideal opportunity to re-examine the significance and festivity of the occasion. Educators, teachers, and Native Americans disclosed to the New York Times about how they had reconsidered the occasion, giving it new names, such as Takesgiving and the Thanksgiving Massacre. They suggest sharing the occasion's actual history at the family assembling. Some Native Americans have been doing this for quite a long time for a bigger scope. The United American Indians of New England have been grieving on Thanksgiving since 1970, per the New York Post. On the National Day of Mourning, Native Americans assemble in Plymouth, Massachusetts, for a day of recognition. Petitions and talks occur, joined by pounding drums before members walk through the Plymouth Historic District. Thank you for watching. Bye now. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Life is Often if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.